Illugi Gunnarsson, and I'm very glad to have this occasion to understand more about education and youth development in the Greater Bay Area.
Hi, Illugi. Thank you. It's very good to have this opportunity to talk to you again. I'm very happy to share with you about my experience.
Well, one of the things that I'm really interested to learn about is how education on the kindergarten level is organized in the Greater Bay Area and in Hong Kong in particular. And the reason why I'm thinking about this is that more and more, at least here in Iceland, we are starting to think about the kindergarten as the most important level or stage of our education system, where we lay the foundation. So I was wondering, is this the same in Hong Kong or the Greater Bay Area, the same emphasis on the kindergarten level?
Yes, actually, both in China and in the mainland, the kindergarten education is now getting more and more important. In the 14th five-year plan of China, which announced in March this year, China has clearly mentioned that a high-quality education system from kindergarten to the tertiary education will be further strengthened. Kindergarten education is a very important part of the whole education system. In the past, kindergarten education started from 3 years old, but now has been changed to from 0 year and up. Also, the teaching method from kindergarten is also changing from the traditional classroom teaching to the concept of learning from playing and learn from the nature, which is in line with the trend in many advanced countries around the world. Also, qualification of the qualified kindergarten teacher are very, very important and is clearly required by the country's education authority.
Yes, well, I'm glad to hear, because I personally believe that this is very true, and it is also timely, this change of focus with the kindergarten system. Here in Iceland, we have a requirement for those who want to be teachers at this level to have 5 years of university education. What are the requirements that are made for teachers at this level in Hong Kong or the Greater Bay Area?
And in this area, in Greater Bay Area and in Hong Kong, the teacher in the gardens, not necessarily that everybody should go to university, but they have a special training for the kindergarten teachers.
And how is the pay? How well are the teachers paid?
Well, I think all of them are very happy with the pay that they receive.
Well, that's also very important.
Yes, yes. It's very stable, actually. The kindergarten teachers normally very stable. They won't change job easily.
But I wanted to expand a bit on this question on the kindergarten. What I find also very important is the link between the kindergarten on the one side and then the primary level, or the first years in the primary level. Mm-hmm. How well are these two stages connected, do you think, in Hong Kong?
Actually, it's a very good question. In Hong Kong and in China, actually in March 30th of this year, the Ministry of Education has once again further strengthened the linkage between the kindergarten education and the primary level. And the instruction applied to the whole nation, not only to Greater China area. Under this instruction, there's a national curriculum for kindergarten, which is synchronized with the primary level. The design is to make sure that the kids will transfer from the kindergarten to primary education smoothly and will be easy to adopt the new environment. Ministry of Education in all levels will closely monitoring the actual adoption of this system in the whole country. And also, actually, this is quite similar in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm. So for example, our experience here in Iceland, the kids when they are 5 years old, they have a small test to test their vocabulary skills. And what we see from this small test is that if they do badly on this vocabulary test, then it shows us there is a problem, and then we can step in very quickly and to try to help that kid to help them to overcome whatever deficiencies there are that are leading to their problems with vocabulary. If they have a very small vocabulary, for example, we try to help them. Because there seems to be a very good forecasting power between how well they do on this test and how well they're going to do in school. And we also know that if we intervene very quickly, very early on, the more help we can provide to the child. So my question here is, the information you have in the kindergarten system, how well is that transmitted into the primary school system?
Actually, the system we have is quite similar to what you have just mentioned. The Ministry of Education has just released actually a 5-page instruction to make sure that all the kids in the kindergarten will learn enough, not necessarily a very good vocabulary ability, but let them know the world by learning from the nature and learning from actually what they touch, what they see, and then transfer to the primary education easily. And there's a curriculum in the primary education will make it easier for the kids to adopt themselves in this new environment.
I would like to understand, is there a comprehensive education policy for the Greater Bay Area and Hong Kong?
Actually, the education policy for the Greater Bay Area is no different from the rest of China. A national policy or curriculum adopted by the Ministry of Education applied to the whole country, including the Greater Bay Area. However, I would not rule out the possibility for the Chinese government to allow foreign organizations to enter into the GBA area to introduce education programs from foreign countries. Of course, all this program will need prior approval from the educational authority. If this educational program not in the format as part of the formal education stuff, but as other training institute, interested party who wants to come to China, I would suggest that they can come to give it a try.
So there is a flexibility with the educational policy,
particularly in the Greater Bay Area.
Traditionally, the difference between Hong Kong, for example, and the mainland China, is the same emphasis or the same type of curriculum between Hong Kong and the mainland China?
Actually, no. The curriculum would not be the same between Hong Kong and the mainland China because Hong Kong adopted one country, two system situation. And therefore, the curriculum in Hong Kong may not be exactly the same as the mainland China. But the education system in Hong Kong and mainland China basically is the same after 1997. That's 6-year primary education, 6-year secondary education, and then 4-year in the university.
So, but tell me, what about, let's say, I'm a foreigner and I'm moving into the Greater Bay Area or into Hong Kong. What about access to international schools?
Access into international school, both in Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area, are not difficult. But I must say, it's not difficult, but they are not cheap. It's quite expensive.
Coming back to looking at the quality of the schools, what we find also is that one of the indicators of the quality of the school is the parents' involvement. If the parents are involved in the school, they tend to become better. So what about parents' involvement in these types of schools?
The parent involvement, yes, actually is getting more and more close cooperation between the parent and the school, both in Hong Kong and in Greater Bay Area.
What about creativity in the school system?
It's actually under the current curriculum in the mainland, creativity is very, very important. It's a very important part.
So what about youth development? I mean, what about sport?
Sport is playing a very important part in both the primary education as well as the secondary education in both Hong Kong and in mainland China, particularly in the Greater Bay Area.
The education system, maybe all parts are equally important. But when it comes to, for example, business and national development, of course, we look a lot at the university level.
Yes.
So I would like to understand what are the greatest institution in the Greater Bay Area in terms of universities. I mean, what are the biggest universities or the most respected universities?
Traditionally, most major universities in China are located in the northern part or eastern part of China. In southern China, in the past, there are not too many important universities, but they do have a few. For example, the Chung University in Guangzhou, and also the South China Polytechnic University and the Shenzhen University are important. And also, actually, in recent years, the Chinese government encouraged major Hong Kong universities to open up their campus in the Greater Bay Area. For example, the Chinese University of Hong Kong has already opened a Shenzhen campus, which, although it is only operated for a few years, it now becomes to be one of the top 10 universities in China already. So, and also, because of that, other major universities in Hong Kong, such as the Hong Kong University, Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and Hong Kong Polytechnic U, they are also planning to open up campus in the Greater Bay Area, which will become very important institute for the tertiary education in this area.
What about the research level? Are they strong on research and the application of research?
Actually, most of this university are the research type university. They are doing very good in the research. And regarding the research and the business, this university are working closely with the enterprises in not only in Guangdong, actually in all over China, and they will open a new course which will meet with the requirement of the Chinese business development. And now they learned how to adopt the research result by putting this result in the business applications.
Yeah, I think that you mentioned here a very important point, is that how well do the university institutions emit or utilize all the knowledge that is created within their institutions.
Actually, in early 80s, it's a big problem for all the university in China. They don't know how to transfer their research result to the business use, but now they learned it all. The business organization and the university are working together very well.
And the students, do you see a lot of students starting doing startups, utilizing knowledge that they have acquired in research? Because what we see, for example, what has changed here in Iceland in the past 20 years or so, is that now it has become very fashionable for young people at university level to go for research and then immediately go for a startup.
Partially don't encourage young students to do startup, but now we have to change this concept, because the new technology, new idea, particularly the IT technology coming up, would encourage the young people to do startup earlier.
Yeah, I remember when I was at the university years ago, and I had a big class, people who were studying business, and the teacher asked, who wants to do a startup?
Yeah.
And out of 100 people, only one raised their hand.
Because traditionally, their parents discourage them to do so. The parents would always say, you must get more experience from working with some other people and before you do the startup. But now this idea changed.
Yeah, completely. Looking at the level of investment into human resource in terms of education, do you know how big proportion of the population in the Greater Bay Area holds a degree, a university degree?
Unfortunately, I think, if we look at China as a whole, people's receiving university education is more than 20%. But unfortunately, in the Greater Bay Area, the figure is not as good as what we expect. The latest figures I get is around only 17.4% of the population in the G-Bay area receive university educations. But of course, this will be increasing because the Chinese government is encouraging young people to do so.
So we could expect that there is a higher percentage of younger people than 17%.
Yes, in the years to come. Yes.
But what about international cooperation between universities in mainland China and abroad?
They have a lot of exchange program actually with the university around the world. In fact, this is quite active.
Yeah, this is very active. So do you see, for example, foreign students coming to study at the universities in the Greater Bay Area? And here I'm talking about the mainland part.
I think it's getting more and more, particularly now, getting more Hong Kong students going to get their tertiary education in the mainland instead of doing it in Hong Kong.
Are they thinking then maybe, do they then return to Hong Kong to work, or are these young people looking for careers in the Greater Bay Area in general?
I think 50-50. Because also in mainland China, they find a lot of good opportunities that they can have a better development. So more and more Hong Kong students would consider to stay in the mainland after they graduate for their business development in the future. Let me also answer you tell you one question about how expensive is the university education in China.
Yes.
It is not expensive actually. Just give you some idea. Just the education, the fee is about 5,000 to 8,000 renminbi per year, and also they have to pay the dormitory is around 1,000 Hong Kong renminbi per year, and the other expenses is also around 1,200 to 2,000 per month. But they normally only stay in the university, in the campus for 9 months per year. So in total, I think this is all affordable for the Chinese government. And also most of the university have some subsidized student loan and scholarship available for the Chinese family.
So I would say this is a very reasonable price for them.
Yes.
And very importantly, that there is a student loan system available.
Yeah.
Okay.